All right. We have some Bengals news here today.
Ooh.
We have a situation at the combine now where there's quotes that are coming out. Casey, you're obviously the resident Bengals expert here. How much do you take these quotes to heart? Do you think that this is lip service over there, or do you think they actually mean what they say?
I mean, I think there's some truth to it. There's a lot of fluff, but I do think that there is some hidden meanings in between what they're saying. You can take back from last year how they were talking about T. Higgins to this year. It's kind of changed their approach to T. Last year it was go get your own receiver. We're not trading him. Now it's we're leaving the doors for any possibilities. So they've definitely are, like I said before, they're not shutting the doors on anything. They're gonna listen to people. I think last year they thought it was a bit of a joke to start trading T. Higgins at this point, or at that point in his career with the Bengals. But now at this point where they have the franchise tag on him, it makes more sense to do so. I've compiled a list of quotes, different topics from Bengals Nation that are spanning from Joe Burrow's injury, Miles Murphy, Cordell Volson, the running backs room, T.J. Reader, T. Higgins, and we also have just now started today getting info on players that they are interviewing for the Bengals draft this season. So if you don't mind, I'm going to just list through them really quickly, kind of rapid fire these, and kind of just do a quick little roundup on what's been said so far at the Combine. Updates for Joe Burrow's wrist. We're going to start there. He's Joe. So you know that he's 100% focused on all of that getting healthy. All reports that we've gotten from him have been very positive. We expect a full recovery for him to continue being Joe. Last report that was official was training camp. So I expect him to be back by training camp. Who said that? That was Duke Tobin. Right. That quote from Duke Tobin on Joe Burrow's wrist. Duke Tobin also had this to say about Miles Murphy. He has grown a lot since he has been with us. He's starting to feel what the NFL is all about and the speed of the game. I was really excited about his progression the second half of the season. When you're playing in the trenches in the NFL, it's a transition. And there's some other quotes I didn't have written down here, but he's talked to some of the players at Clemson, Miles Murphy, and the sentiment from those guys, from Murphy, is that it is a huge game-changing speed difference when you go into the NFL. So, yeah, I think we all agree that he played a lot better in the second half of the season. They also asked about Cordell Volson. Duke Tobin had this to say. He's still young. He's still very young, and praised his attitude, toughness, size, thinks he's a good run blocker, think he still has a lot of upside. We've seen a lot of good out of Cordell. I don't think any of us have seen the best yet. The second half of Cordell Volson's season last year, he only allowed 2 sacks and a pass block efficiency of 97.2, tied for second best in the NFL after the bye week this year. So basically the thought is when Joe Burrow isn't a sitting duck and you can move around in the pocket, Volson is one of the best guards in the NFL based off of the analytics and numbers. So Zach Taylor had this to say about the running backs. There are certain things that you're looking for in a running back room. Doesn't have to come from one player at all. Might be a little insight into Joe Mixon. Duke Tobin had this to say about DJ Reader. He's in the building every day rehabbing. We think he's going to get through it and be just fine. We're talking to him like a lot of our unrestricted free agents and seeing if there's an opportunity to keep him here. And then I have this, the most important bit, Duke Tobin on T. Higgins, and then I'll get into some of the guys that they've interviewed in the draft so far.
Yeah, you know, we got the we got the salary cap numbers, and we knew kind of where we were heading with it. As soon as we got the salary cap numbers, there's no point in lingering on this, and you know, we made the decision. We just went with it, so there wasn't any more thought to it other than this is what we're going to do. Why don't we just go ahead and do it?
What are your thoughts on
how complicated is the process of actually pulling off a tag and trade? It's rare. You don't see it very often. Is it a complicated process?
Well, I don't know. I've never done one. Yeah. So, Again, we tagged him with the intent of him playing for us.
Right.
He's a good player. We want good players. He fits us perfectly, so we tagged him for that reason. I'm not the hypotheticals of what could happen. It's hard for me to comment on.
Is it that simple? When you do make the decision to apply the tag, do you want him on the roster in 24 or not? Is it that black and white? You don't go into it saying, "Oh, well, we could."
We want him on the
this
roster.
and that.
Yeah, we want him on the roster.
What are the challenges of paying 2 wide receivers at a high-end salary? Jamar is going to be eligible soon. T's already. What are the challenges like in terms of cap construction and what that looks like?
It's challenging. You can only have so many super high price guys on your team, and so yes, it's a challenge. We try to work within the rules that are there for us. We didn't. The CBA is the CBA. It was negotiated. Our job is to work within it to try to have the best team possible year over year, and our thoughts are that this is a way to have the best team possible next year. We'll work through the challenges that come with that as we go.
There's a lot of discussions that wide receiver, that as more receivers come into the league, that maybe there's an offset cost for younger players like we see in the running back market. Do you ever see that potentially being the case for receivers?
There are a lot of receivers in the draft every year. The college game just lends itself to a lot of guys, and there's a lot of different style guys, and so there will always be guys coming in. You got to make the right choices when you do it. It is a position that we feel pretty strongly that we can identify with our situation and our quarterback, but when you have a bird in the hand, you like to continue with them if you think that they're going to continue to produce for you.
Yeah, and that was Duke Tobin on T. Higgins and the situation there. Another thing too, this draft, it is stacked with receivers, and not just any receivers like slots or your X or Y's or whatever. It's guys that are T. Higgins size. They're 6'4", big-bodied, jump ball guys. So keep your eyes on that. See if they potentially make a trade. Last thing I'll say before we wrap up this little recap segment of the Combine, the Bengals have met with a ton of players, and it looks like they're focusing on edge rusher specifically. Out of the guys that have been confirmed in the first couple hours of today's meetings, we have 6 are edge rushers. 6. Chop Robinson from Penn State, first rounder. Jared Verse, FSU, edge rusher, first round. Nelson Caesar, Houston, edge rusher, probably in your day 2 picks. Gabriel Murphy, UCLA, edge rusher, probably a day 2 guy. Jalen Harrell, Michigan, another day 2 guy, edge rusher. Mohamed Kamara, Colorado State, another day 2 guy. I mean, they looked at the numbers last year, said they only got 26.5 sacks out of the rest of the group besides Trey Hendrickson. They think are probably trying to upgrade that position significantly because it is an area of need, an area that we've struggled in. But it's also a little weird because of what they had to say about Myles Murphy. I don't know.
Yeah,
and DJ
somebody's
Reed,
lying.
too. Yeah, like there's something.
Well, there's something not adding up.
Yeah.